The Universe C course looks at cultural history, but there are four threads we can follow throughout this course, from the approximate middle of the 1800s right through to the present day. We use these themes to ask questions, to compare and contrast, to analyze, and to put the material we encounter into context. Theme 1: Human Freedom. The concept of human freedom is as important in the revolutionary time of Romanticism in the early 1800s as it is later in 2020, but freedom as a concept completely transforms as we go through the class. In the 19th century, thinkers ask whether human freedom can be secured through Enlightenment values led democratic revolution or through things like Marx's call for freedom from capitalism, or the opposite point of view, a completely free market. The 20th century sees struggles for freedom from colonial oppression, for freedom of expression, for freedom to live without systemic injustice, and finally, by the time we reach contemporary society, freedom cannot be discussed without consideration of our rights to live online with or without data capture and surveillance. We'll explore these shifts. Theme 2: Art as an expression of culture. How do we make meaning of the suffering and the beauty of living through writing, art, architecture, theater, and music? How do cultural works reflect and express attitudes and preoccupations of their time and context? How does the role of art and artists or writers evolve over time? And in this course, the 20th century brings some very radical experiments that ask what are the limits of what an artwork can be and what is its purpose? We'll explore these questions with some pretty wild art that at times can cause some pretty extreme reactions, which I welcome. Theme 3: Cultural Difference. How do humans respond to the cultural meaning of cultures different than their own? What can we learn from the misunderstandings, inequalities, and outrages of the past? How has this shaped our world and our own culture? What do cultural works represent? What ways do what ways do cultural works represent the civilization behind them, and to what extent can this even be understood by those outside the culture that produced them? This is more relevant than ever because many art institutions cling to ideas of the 19th century colonialism in holding on to artwork stolen during what we would now prosecute as a crime. Indigenous people around the world still struggle to relocate their sacred cultural heritage and bring it home. Theme 4: Technological Advances and Cultural Impact. So finally, we'll ask how technological innovations transform cultural expression and experience. Technologies such as cinema, TV, the computer, and smartphone have all had as much impact as any single writer or artist during this time the course covers. You'll be asked to compare and contrast these impacts. So these are the main themes or questions that will shape my lectures, but also form the kinds of questions you will learn to ask of the material. What counts in this course is not memorization of names and dates, but critical thinking about cultural history, and I'll ask you open-ended questions and challenge you to bring your analysis to the class and to your assignments.